Hey everyone, I got a hot tip that this project was giving us a little bit of trouble, and I wanted to make a video just to clarify and help you guys get started with it and have success with it. So maybe this will be overly generous with hints, but I think that's better than the other thing. All right, so in the project, let's see. Okay, so if I go to the project, or heck, even if I go down to module 1 and I get to the project that way, it is, okay, so here's my template for the project. And then I also have the Excel one data, because we know how that went. Okay, so I'm just gonna look at the project just to kind of give an overview. So what we're supposed to be doing here is modeling a scenario in which we take some sample data from a statistics course. And let's pretend it's our course. So I'm going to collect the pulse data from my classmates, air quotes, right? Because we didn't really do this, but because we have dummy data. All right, so the first thing I do is I measure my pulse. Whatever, you can use your like smartwatch if they have that feature, or you could use your neck or your wrist to figure out your pulse. And then, so since we're distance learning class, we're going to go get some dummy data. So our data is here. A sample would that make it, right? If this our own stats class and we were just kind of lazily asking our classmates, that's going to tell us what kind of sample we have. So I would either download this data, you could do that. I think I'm going to do something maybe else, just an alternative. I'm going to copy this data and I'm going to put it into my ASAP module 1 workbook. So like everyone has their own copy of the ASAP module 1 thing. And what you can do is you can just make your own, a new tab. This is something else I did. Okay, so on the bottom, you can hit the plus, make a new tab, and you can just Control V, and you can get the data that way. And the reason you want your own data, you're going to want to sort it from low to high. You're going to want to compute the mean and the standard deviation, all that stuff. So I'm just going to rename it as pulse data. Okay. So now that I have that, let me go back and see what we need to do. All right, so the first part is, what is this, qualitative or quantitative data? So again, you just want to appeal to your definitions that you have. Is it qualitative or quantitative? And again, this is pulse. So does it make sense to take the average of this data? If it does, then that would be quantitative. If it's describing something, like if it's your like color of a car, or ethnicity or hair length or something like that, those describing qualities are qualitative data. So it's probably not that. All right, so then is this data discrete, continuous, nominal, or ordinal? And again, you're going to want to go into your definitions and review what those terms mean to make your decision on what type of data this is. And then the last part of number 3 is, what sampling method was used to collect this data? And my very generous hint was that we are lazily collecting data from classmates. So I know it's dummy data, but that's what we're mimicking here, is that we are lazily collecting data from our classmates. All right, so measures of spread. Is this a sample or a population standard deviation? So if I go back up to the top, I'm going to remember that we are taking a sample. So this is definitely going to be a sample standard deviation. So when we have a sample standard deviation, now for part B, it's up to us to determine, should I use the symbol sigma or should I use the letter S? And then I'm going to say, what's the value of the standard deviation? So You can use group data if you want. I'm going to show you how to use just regular list of data. I did have in my original Excel file that I thought was kind of cool, actually. I did use group data. I made a new example and I didn't do that. So I'll change that. So if you look at the data, there's an example here, ungrouped. And basically this is just showing you like, hey, this is what I want this stuff to look like. So the first thing I did was that I sorted my data. So you can always, I'll show you how to sort the data that we have. So if you highlight the data, all right. You highlight the data and then you go over here to sort ascending, meaning from low to high. And definitely click expand and sort. So basically what that does is saying like, hey, I want you to take the student labels with it. So you'll see when I do this, right, it looks like it scrambled the student labels, but it just kept it with the numbers. So that's expanding your selection. All right, so we've sorted from low to high. So you can see right away, this is your min, this is your max, and you know that you have what, 27 data values. So you are going to want to find your Q1, your median, and your Q3. And I know you know how to do that, so I'm not going to do it for you. So if you go back to the example that I did, I just actually wrote them down on the side. And once you have your 5-number summary, your min, your Q1, your median, your Q3, and your max, you can actually plug that into to Excel to compute a box plot. So I'll show you where that is really quickly. So once you have your 5-number summary, you can go over to box plot and you can plug it in and generate a nice little image. Another thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to compute the standard deviation. So again, you just want to copy these values and you want to plug them into your standard deviation. So if I was doing this for real, I would copy my data. I would go to my standard deviation tab and I would just paste it in. Now, I'm certainly not dividing by 5. That's not happening. I have 27 data values. So it's up to me to decide, am I dividing by 27? Is that the right number to divide by? Or am I dividing by 26, right? And that depends on whether or not you have a sample or you have a population standard deviation. So again, you want to check that and then determine if you're dividing by 27 or 26. And that'll give you your standard deviation. So once you have that, so okay, let's say 10.3. I would actually copy this. And let me go to my Word document. Okay, so I would put in, let's say 10.3 here, and then I would paste the computations of what I did here, right? So that's what that's going to look like. So far, everything else has been just words. You're just typing it in like, okay, this would be quantitative. This would be whatever you say it is. This would be whatever I say it is, right? So you're actually wanting to type it into the Word document itself. Okay, so you put that in there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to erase this before I forget, since this is the template. You want to paste your box plot in. So again, in order to do the box plot, you're going to need to have your 5-number summary. So from your data, this is example data. From your data, right, you've sorted low to high, and presumably you have your 5-number summary. So you're going to take those 5 numbers and you're going to stuff it into these boxes. You're going to get a box plot. You could copy it or you can screenshot it. And you're just going to go into your project once you have the correct one, and you're just going to paste that in there. So it would look like this. right? Whatever your box plot ends up being, this is not the right box plot. Okay, and then you also need to paste a histogram in here. So I'm going to show you how to make a histogram real quick. So going to where my data is, if I just highlight this, all right, come on now. If I just highlight this, okay, cool. And then I'm going to go to insert at the top, and I'm going to click the down arrow next to the charts. And I really like this one here. So it's a histogram and it does not have the trend line on it. So here's my histogram and it's going to come up. Oh, pink. It only has 4 boxes and I'd like it to have 5. So what I can do is I click on the chart and then I'm going to right click over one of the bars. And this should bring up an option to format. And if it doesn't, by the way, I'll show you this. When you click on the chart, you should have an option. Hello. Should. What happened? All right, well, never mind. Just right click on it. All right, right click on the chart. And there's a bunch of options, right? But like you can change the chart title, you can change how your axis looks, but go to series 1. If you're on the web version, go to series 1. If you're doing this in Excel, like on the software on your computer, go to horizontal axis. You'll find either way, if you go through all of them, eventually you'll find one that says bins. And you're going to want to go to, I like doing number of bins personally, because I just know that I need to have at least 5. So I'm going to try 5 and see how it works. Okay, cute. I can look at 6 and see if I like that better. Okay, still cute, whatever. Like it's whatever you want to do, just at least 5. I think I liked 6 the best, but okay. So then I'm going to want to change the chart title. So again, it's in one of the options here, and I'm just going to do pulse beats per minute. Okay, cool. And then I also want, like, I like it to be outlined. So I'm going to make my inside just, I don't know, lighter. Like if you just make it light and then you could do that. I like this just because it helps me like see where things are broken up. And you also notice that now like my labels for my axis, I don't really like that. So that might also shape how many bins you have. I wonder if it's going to do that with 5. Oh, okay, that's better. I like 5. Okay, cool. So that's what I mean by play around with it. See what you like. So I'm going to copy this. And then I would also paste that into my project. So your histogram would go here and a simple Control V or Command V to paste it in. So it should look something like that. And then it's asking you what's a better measure of center, right? And we talked about in the video, if you have skewed data, it's better to measure your center with the median, because the median is less susceptible to outliers and skew. If you have something that is symmetric, then your best measure of center would be the mean. So that is just straight up the answer. But first you have to figure out if you're skewed or not, right? All right. Oh, you were supposed to put your histogram here and then say whether or not it was skewed. Okay, what else? You get it. You get it. And then the last thing you want to do is you've already computed your 5-number summary because you had to do your box plot. And so what you would want to do after that is compute your IQR. And so that is your lower fence is your Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. And then your upper fence is Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR. So, and then you want to identify whether or not there's any outliers in the data. And again, I claim that maybe we haven't like spent a lot of time making histograms, But, asking to compute the standard deviation, asking for a 5-number summary on unsorted data, asking about whether a picture of a histogram is skewed, asking to make a box plot, and asking about like, is this qualitative or quantitative, and sampling methods. We've done successfully all of those things as individual questions within the homework. And I think maybe sometimes the project it has a little bit of overwhelming factor to it, because one, like I think Excel is challenging, and I get that, and I promise it will be less challenging as we get through the course. And two, I'm asking you to do it all at once, and that also can feel challenging. So just remember that you've done every single one of these things before successfully, and I'm just asking you to now do them all at once. Okay, so good luck. Also, thank you to Maria, who kind of got on me about clarifying a lot of these things, and encouraging me to make a video. I really hope it helped. If you need additional help or you are stuck somewhere, please email me and we can set up a Zoom call. Please post to the forum, and good luck. And I look forward to reading what you guys put out.